Okay, so now we're going to take this further. We started with this underhook. I've got his head, I'm pulling him forward, I wing this out, I go to it, I move my hips out. And what happens, to secure his upper body so that I can flex the arm, I brought my left leg over his shoulder and crossed my ankles. All right, regardless, like I said, of whether his hand is in or out, it doesn't matter because he can't really compete with my leg strength. He can't use that to open up my legs. All right, if his arm is that far out, he's gonna eventually have to pull it out. Yeah, he can't really push it back in. So I'm going for this underhooking Kimura, but he's strong. And he starts to extend his arm, all right? Now, what happens is in order for his hand to find its way up this way, he has to turn it. And right at that point where it turns this far, I grab it and lock it. Try to turn it further. He can't, yeah. So he just walked into something bad because I can flex his elbow. There was actually a UFC fight not long ago, within the past year at least, where somebody did this. They actually went from, I don't know if it was an underhooking Kimura or a standard Kimura, but the guy straightened out of it and he broke his arm with a straight. You don't often see that, but I've wondered for years, why don't more people do that? Because it actually is very effective. It's very strong, the arm is very isolated. So that's our first follow-up. But the thing is, we're gonna ride that arm in a lot of places. And what I want you to see is how my leg formation, even though it lends itself to a triangle choke, it can also be a way to hold him there while I work on that arm. So we're gonna get to that. So I'm here, I got his head, his elbow. He's posturing up, and I move my hips to the left, pop it out, I go to it, and I set this leg over, and I don't care if the hand is there, but I popped it free, he straightened it, and I can get the elbow, but if he keeps turning it, I'll bring it across, and now I can bring it across to a triangle, but he might keep his head on this side of center. This is very common, for him to not let me bring him over here where I can choke him. So I'm sort of on my side, like this. All right? So immediately what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at that arm and say, well, I can either, if I keep it bent, I can extend it, and I've got a nice Americana from here. See, the purpose of the triangle now is as a lock. It's not a choke. It's just keeping him where he is. It locks him in place. And if the arm is bent, I can go this way. Or if he straightens out of it, I can get this way, okay? If it's turned this way, once again, even with this lock, I can just hold the elbow and push on the wrist without even underhooking, because the arm is so vulnerable, and these are very small muscles that don't tolerate much rotation, okay? So I can just hold it there and just push it like that. I'm even pushing my hips a bit. And then he'll go back out. I'll straighten it again, and I'll bring it through, and this is where I'll start looking at stepping over his head and getting an inverted arm lock, because it's so tight, it'll hurt you. My leg is over his shoulder. So once I step this leg over his head, it's very tight right there. This is not like the inverted arm lock where I'm under the arm. This is fine too. But you notice how my legs are separated. But when I started, going back to the beginning, I started here. Wing it out. As soon as I was going for this, and I set my leg over his shoulder, that set things in a different direction. This is a different kind of control. From here, straightens out. I even might elbow press it, but I like the figure four. I bring it in. I would like to get a triangle if I could get his head over here, but I can't. He's strong, his base is good, so I just lock it and I say, okay, the arm is bent, he straightens out of it, straight, go here, and then from here, once again, if it stays in here, he's just locking it in. I can move my hips a little further, either put my knee in front or step over, like so. One thing that can happen is he bends it and grabs it, all right? So what I'll do in this case is I will bring my knee through and put my shin right against his bicep, all right? And then I'll step over and I'll push with my legs as I peel the grip free, all right? To separate, there's something there blocking his arm that I can pull against while I fight his grip. All right, so it gets kind of knotty in there with what my legs are doing, all right? But all the while I'm squeezing so I get that arm away. If at any point he's locking it and I can't get it and he's driving into me, then I pull his head back in, I go back to my triangle. Because since he's driving into me, he wants to stack me, that's saying I can bring his head over to the other side again. So you gotta read his commitment and say, well, if he's over there, it's inverted options. He drives into me, boom, bring him over, right side of center, go back to your triangle and choke him. He's gotta make a choice, all right? And the interesting thing about it is any of those choices could be good for him or it could be bad for him and good for you, depending on how ready you are to capitalize, to really see what that means for you.